Hi and welcome to Knit with Hannah. I'm Hannah. I'm here with Knitting Now to help you knit with ease, confidence and joy, and so that we can knit with joy and absolutely appreciate every time we pick up the needles. Let's pick some yarn today. For the knit along, in which we are making cowls, the Sashiko cowl, we need 3 colours. So you need 3 different balls of yarn of 3 different colours. And this can be tricky, and it's something that can get you stuck, almost stuck in analysis paralysis. So what we want to do is just find ways of picking yarns that feels easier. You may have seen a video where I help you pick duets, and there's even a download for that, because there's lots of times when you're knitting where you need 2 coloured stripes. You need 2 colours for the brim of a hat and the top of a hat, something like that. A lot of knitting patterns use 2 different colours. So colour duets is something that we've focused on before and looked at. Now let's do the same thing with 3 colours. When it comes to 3 colours, there are lots of formulas you can use. If you're in the UK, then you can pop along to the website and join the knit along with the kit instead of just the digital pattern. But if you want to select your own yarn, if you want a different colourway, if you are outside of the UK and you're not able to get it, then you can join with the digital access as well. So let's select 3 colours. The first one, and I find this the simplest, and it's a real go-to if you're just feeling a bit lost and you just want to get started, is to pick 3 tones of the same colour. So for example, as we have here, we have 3 tones of blue. Now this is a blue, it's just a very pale one. So we have 3 tones of blue there, and they all come together in the final piece. We have a dark, a medium and a very white blue as well. We could very easily just go for a much darker blue and have this one as the lightest. But the whole idea is that we have 3 different shades of blue, or 3 different shades of green, 3 different shades of pink, purple. For example, I have 2 pinky reds there, and if we just had a purple to sit on top of that as well, then they would look really good together, or even a paler pink. It's an easy way to go. If you know you like a particular shade, a particular colour, you know you enjoy wearing green, maybe you even wear a lot of grey on black. A lot of people do, and it's a really good way of just saying, actually, I know this will go with anything. Pick some neutrals and just have 3 different shades, and it will be a really easy way to go. So that's your first one. Let's have a look at some options where we are looking at a colour wheel. So when you come to a colour wheel, there are 3 main primary colours. There's the red, yellow and blue. And in between them we have the mixtures. So between the red and the yellow there's the orange, between the red and the blue there's the purple, and between the yellow and the blue there's the green. So we look at those shades and say which 3 are next to each other. For example, there will be a green, a purple and a blue. Let's pick that one. There we go. They are next to each other in the colour wheel. That's just picked out some tones. The blue, the green and the purple are next to each other. If we were looking at the colour wheel, that would be underneath there, so you could literally have the yellow instead, and we could also have, this is a tone of red, and that would work as well. So we're moving around the colour wheel without being too contradictory. We're not trying to match a green and a red, which would be opposites. So that kind of thing can work really well. What's next to the next? What is the next colour on the colour wheel? just move around the colour wheel and you'll find an easy match. Now, next one. Now this is one that I like, and this is one that I used for this. And I don't actually have the full balls at the moment right next to me. I've ordered the yarn. I'm filming this before I've even started sending out kits, so I'm hoping there may well be kits still left for you to purchase. What I did here, we have 2 greys and a purple. So you find neutrals and you say, okay, I've got neutrals, I'm then going to find a pop of colour. So I could have gone with that. I could have gone with that. I could have said, actually, I'll have a white, a grey, and a yellow. And that just pops out of there, and the yellow is much more noticeable. If you're someone who's happy with that pop of colour to really be the thing that's noticed above anything else, then that's a great way to find 3 colours. You haven't got to say, oh crikey, I've got to match 2 colours and a neutral, or 3 colours together. If you know you want a particular colour, you want to knit with it, just find 2 neutrals to go with it. You could also use brown. This is a cinnamon. You could use browns as neutrals, you can use navies as neutrals, and beiges, mushrooms colours. I don't have mushroom in the felted tweed, but I just happen to have a mushroom sat here of shiny happy cotton. But that is a decent neutral, and you could knit that just as an example. That would work really well with that next to it. If you find there must be a felted tweed in a similar shade to that, and you could put any colour in next to that and it would just work, because you've already just given it a plain background. Suddenly you've got something that will work with any colour. So it gives you it just gives you an easy ride. Okay, so that's one other thing you've got. So far we've had 3 tones of one colour, we've had what's side by side on the colour wheel, and then that was 2 neutrals to bring out the pop of a particular colour. And that colour doesn't have to be a neon or a really bright primary colour. It could be very subtle. A lot of these shades are pretty subtle. You're not going to get many yarns that are shockingly obvious. If you pick up some yarns like this, probably that is the brightest, but it's still pretty muted shade. Okay, so what also could you do? Now, one thing I have decided to knit another cowl. I love knitting these cowls. I want to knit another one, and I know who's going to have this one, I'm pretty sure. I want to knit one, and I said, where can I find some inspiration from? So I was walking around the garden, and one of the flowers has pink and white petals and a very obvious yellow pollen in the middle. And that was a while ago, and I ordered this yarn a while ago while I was still filming the tutorials for the other ones. But it's very, very easy to just go outside and say, what can inspire me? You might also think, actually, there's some beautiful yellow flowers outside, so you get 2 different shades of yellow. And then you might also think, I love a daisy. You've got the green leaf, you've got the white daisy petals, and you have the yellow pollen. It's all very natural and neutral, because it just goes, because it does. Those 2 are right next to each other on the colour wheel, by the way, and you've added in a neutral. So the neutrals are very easy to use as a quick fix if you need a 3rd colour. If you know you want 2 colours and you're very happy with them sitting together, but you just cannot decide what to use next, find a neutral, and it will just sit there more than happily to just be a background and to not distract from the two main colours that you actually really like. But nature can be a brilliant inspiration for this kind of thing. Now, another inspiration, how about the green of a pine tree, or the brown of the bark, and then the ruby red of some autumnal leaves right next to it. We have a plum tree in the garden with some gorgeous red leaves. Behind it is an embankment full of trees with lots of green leaves, and of course we have all the bark that is brown. This is lotus leaf, I think. That is cinnamon, and I honestly can't remember what this ruby's called. I wish I could. My apologies. But they feel very natural, very neutral, and if you wanted to go in a similar direction, you've got the tones of autumnal leaves just sat right there, haven't you? So if you look to nature, you can look to anything, but looking to nature is an ideal thing. Anyone can look out the window. Anyone could be even watching television or looking at photos on Pinterest and saying, God, those colours are really beautiful in that photograph of nature. I'm going to pick colours from that as my inspiration. And these blues even, it's like a cloudy sky. It's like the surf on a particularly windy day, rough ocean. So that is a wonderful way to go if you want to. We also, remember, have this white here. So there's not much of a difference, but there still is. So it really does depend on how much of a contrast you want. And these two greys, you wouldn't think it would notice when you're knitting it, but it's such a small ball that I had left. There you go. So you wouldn't think there's much of a difference as I picked them out. I thought it will work, I'm positive. You can still see the difference in the stripes and in the crosses as we knitted it. So it's there. It does become obvious. These are the two natural inspirations I had for the colourways for this cowl. I have lapis lazuli with quartz and pyrite, and there is amethyst here, and that's satin and granite. All of those little shades there, and they're very orangey because there's iron in it. So I picked out some greys that actually have a very good tint of orange in them. So they're very warm and cosy greys. Sometimes you might pick up a grey or a white and it feels colder because it's got blue in it. So this was a really nice way of finding inspiration from nature, and it gave me 3 colours to pick. It made it feel easier when I just went in when there's a whole host of yarn colours, yarn options available when it comes to Rowan's felted tweed. So I could have sat there for ages, but because I already had ideas about which colours I wanted some blues and I wanted purples and greys, and it made it a lot easier. So go in with some kind of idea in your mind as exactly what you're looking for, and then you'll be able to fill those gaps a lot more easily, and it will be faster for you to pick. And like I said, you'll be able to click out of the analysis paralysis much more quickly. The other option, of course, this is the kind of thing that we do when we're knitting something to go with something else. I want a hat to match this, for example. Would I stick the same purple? Would it be a chunky yarn that I want instead of a DK, the thin yarn that I'm knitting this with? If that's the case, maybe I just need to find a grey or a purple that's similar. It's certainly something to think about. What colour is your favourite coat that you wear in winter? Do you want to use one of those colours as an inspiration? If you have a grey coat, maybe you put some grey in your cowl. But you just give it a bit of an accent with the yellow. And then you might use the white as well. So it's definitely looking to clothes as well. That's a really good option. I have a lovely shirt that I like wearing. It's got navy blue background. It has actually, funnily enough, it has a cinnamony colour in it. It has a green colour in it. And it has like a salmony pink colour in it. So I could easily just say, I want to find colours that are similar to that because I know that shirt suits me really well. So the option is there to say what clothes do I already have that I know really suit me well. Why don't I go and pick some colours that are similar to that? Because I could easily have said I'll go for the navy blue, I'll pick out a cinnamony colour, and I'll go for a salmon pink. And I would have known that it would work because I already have clothes that work in that way. Do you have a favourite winter jumper that you know you're going to wear this with? If you're in the UK, then you know there are some days in the winter you don't actually need a coat on if you've got your thick winter jumper on. If it's dry and there's not a lot of wind in the air, it could actually feel quite comfortable. Maybe it's November, maybe it's February, and you just need a cowl and a hat on and you're quite comfortable. So is that an option too? Do you want to knit a cowl that will go with what you already have? And the fact that you're actually going to wear it would be really helpful to know, well, I'm knitting it and I would like to wear it when I finish knitting it. And as I said at the beginning, don't feel you need to get stuck. The two colourways are already there. Just pick one of them. And this third one that I'm knitting, I know it works. I'm going to be very happy with it when I've finished. There you go. That's what I'm picking. That's what I'm knitting with. I will sit here and tell you what colours these are. That is 177. That is 181. And that is 183. I think this is peony. Can't remember. But I've not used these yellow. I've definitely used the pink before. I don't think I've used the yellow or the white before. It might be clay. So yeah, I know they work together because I've seen it in nature, and that was what inspired me for those three colours. And it's nice to bring those kind of colours, kind of a summery inspiration, into the winter to just brighten the day. Not only your day, but the days of people who you meet when you're out. Nice to see yellow sometimes in the winter, isn't it? When we don't see the sun much and there are no flowers around, just sparking the inspiration of yellow. Out here as I sit in the studio, I have beautiful knapweed in the lawn, and it's a beautiful yellow flower. It's so gorgeous, and we have little caterpillars all over it at the moment. It's so lovely to be able to know we're going to have all of those moths in the garden, thanks to those bright yellow flowers bringing them in. So yeah, it's this time of year when there is so much yellow around, it's easy to forget that we're not going to see much of that in the winter. So as you're picking now, why don't you bring some of that inspiration into your winter clothes, winter collection as well. So as always, I will leave a link below to the knit along so that you could join. We get started on the 7th of September, so be quick. And I don't know whether there are any kits left. I'm filming this early just so that I can have it edited and ready for you. So if there are kits left, then perfect. If not, then there is time. There will be time to find your own yarn and to have it delivered. You know how quickly things can come through the post these days, so do join us for the knit along. The link is in description. If the knit along is no longer open, fingers crossed, I will have also created a PDF that you can download to help you with selecting 3 colours of yarn at once, just like we did with the colour duets. There will be a colour trios download, so that you have the details you need, so that you could even take it to the yarn shop with you to make it easier when you're finding the yarn that you want. Don't feel overwhelmed with all of these options that I've given you. 3 tones of one colour, side by side on the colour wheel, neutral with a pop of colour, inspiration from nature, and inspiration from your favourite clothes. That's 5 things, but go with your instinct. We cannot knit everything, and we cannot pick all of the yarn combinations in the world. It's just not an option. We only have 2 hands and we cannot knit everything. So go with your gut and go with one of the first things that you think of. It will work out. It really will work out fine. You know, I think maybe if I'm going to knit another one, it will be these 3. The autumnal inspiration. I really rather like that. There we go. Okay, so like I said, everything will be in the description below, and I'm hoping that once this knit along is finished, there will also be some more tutorials around colour knitting, so stick around for that too, and look in the description because I will drop anything in there where you can find out more about that too. Big shout out to members. I will mention again, of course, they get all these videos before anyone else, which means that they get the links first, they get the kits first, and they get the knit along details first. They were the first in. So if you want to have the information for these kind of events as well, and you want to be first in, you want to have the first information, and they also get an extra discount. So YouTube members, big thank you to YouTube members for supporting the channel in the way that they do. You get the bonuses of 2 extra videos every month, and seeing all of these videos early as well. Okay, thanks so much for joining me today. I do hope I will see you again soon, very likely next week. Bye for now, happy knitting, and I do hope I'll see you in the knit along.